My name is Matt Wall. This is my wife Jayna Wall, and our son Jackson is 2 years old and has been diagnosed with pulmonary hypertension since he was 14 months old.
Jackson had some bumps show up on his face, so I called his doctor's office and they asked us to bring him in just to make sure it wasn't chickenpox or something. So took him in and he saw a different pediatrician, an older pediatrician that day. And the pediatrician checked him out and said everything looked good. He thought the bumps were just bug bites, but he said that he heard a heart murmur. So he wanted to refer us for an echocardiogram. So he said it's probably just, an innocent murmur, nothing to worry too much about, but he wanted to just verify that with the echocardiogram. So we scheduled an echocardiogram for a few weeks later, took him in for the echo. So I was in the room alone, and Jackson was like jumping on the chair or something that was making me laugh. And the doctor walked in, and I looked at his face, and he was just, not even a glimmer in his eye. So I immediately knew something was wrong. His first words were, "It's not a good diagnosis." And then he started talking pulmonary hypertension, and I was just like, "You have to stop. We have to call my husband."
And I got on the phone with Jayna, and I could hear stress in her voice, and she said, "I'm just going to let the doctor go." And at that point, he went on to say he suspected Jackson has pulmonary hypertension, which was elevated pressures in the lungs. And before we knew it, we were talking about lung transplant and 5-year survival, and that he likely wouldn't survive the disease.
The following morning, we were admitted to Duke Children's Hospital.
And we were there for 10 days and went through his diagnosis. And the second day we were there, we had his heart cath. He did not respond to oxygen. He did not respond to nitric oxide. And at that point, the cardiologist who was on his case, who was not a PH specialist, said that he would not respond to any treatment and he needed a heart pump transfer.
Matt had come home the night of the echo, and the doctor had told me, "Don't get on the internet, don't do any research." Matt came home and he started doing research. And so he was kind of reading up on it. And I think at that point it was still we hadn't found PHA yet. So it was still kind of down, dark, what you see on the internet. But then we had kind of, seeing Jackson running around and being happy, and still, even with the IVs in the hospital, being his little trooper self and smiling. We were okay, we were holding it together. And then when they come in and say, "Now we think he'll probably need a heart and lung transplant," that was just like the straw that broke the camel's back. And I just had a complete breakdown, melt in the floor, had to get a wheelchair and stroll me through the hospital. I was that crazy lady screaming, wailing.
She had her meltdown, and about within 10 minutes, she said, "We're not going to stop fighting. We're going to find somebody who's going to help him." The doctors that initially diagnosed Jackson were not PH specialists.
Yeah.
And Duke has an amazing adult program. And once the adult PH specialists got involved, they started consulting with the right people.
And the adult specialist at Duke also was very involved, and she's the first one that gave us hope and came in and said, just because he didn't respond to nitric oxide doesn't mean he's not going to respond to medication. So that gave us a lot of hope. And she was we're going to do everything we can. We're going to be here for you. We're going to help you through this.
I think some of the things that we do to get us through the dark days is we stand on our faith and to know that he's going to be okay. Last year we had there's a group in Winston-Salem, a PH group in Winston-Salem, that hosted a golf tournament, and we went to it just to go play in it and try to help support the tournament. And we had a great time, and we thought that since we were in a larger area, the Raleigh area, that we'd be able to do a golf tournament to help raise funds for research as well. So I solicited sponsorships out to people I worked with, and we ended up having about 70 players. time, and we raised just over $25,000 for research. And this year we're doing it again. We're going to do the second annual Driving for a Cure for PH golf tournament in the Raleigh area, and looking to have over 100 players this year, and with goals of raising over $30,000 for research.
Anything that we get is going, to fund a cure.
We'll be donating 50% of all funds to the Robin Barsh Fund for pediatric research, and 50% of funds will go to the Pulmonary Hypertension General Research Fund. The diagnosis is not the end; it's the beginning. And through faith and great doctors and great diligence, we can beat this.